So, guys, Japan, and
I
as
can
I
go
just
over
said
this.
when I was waiting for you, you say that a big typhoon is expected to hit Japan very shortly.
Yeah, very shortly now.
Hmm. But you're used to it in Japan, right?
Yeah, it's a season for, so
Mm,
we
mm,
have to expect it.
mm. And am I right that you are also having a day off today? So you join us just because of the Learn with Us session here?
Yes, yes, day off. This is the elder day, but
Oh,
we always, appreciate your effort, so we came in here.
I am pleased about it. I actually spoke to your colleagues in Germany because I thought they could take over for you. But it's always good to have, because I mean, every time I talk to Horizon in Japan, it's like talking to the ones that make things happen because you develop and produce the machine just north of Kyoto, right? Mm. So before we get to see what you have planned, how is life? How is business for Horizon these days?
We are becoming back, normal after the COVID situation.
Mhm.
Japan, as you know, it's a conservative country, so still people are wearing a mask and so on,
Mm.
but the life itself
Mm.
is came back. All the places are getting crowded.
Yeah.
People are, going out, and then we have exhibition in Japan, and then
Yeah.
the different industry, but the people are gathering. So it's a good sign for it. Yeah.
And I will soon see you because we are going to iGas to meet you, for example, right?
Yes.
It will be quite
Yeah.
exciting.
Yes, yes, we are really excited to have you. Still under restriction, so we don't expect many, many foreigners, but thanks to your, help, we can, spread the IGAS information over to, global customers.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. How difficult will it be for me to talk to people? Will everybody be able to speak English, or is it? Should I practice my Japanese before going?
Yeah, maybe you can practice Japanese like a Brian. He's American, but he speaks Japanese very well.
Is he as good as Colin, or
You
is
know,
it? Are you catching up,
Yeah,
Brian?
and it's the same
Colin
level.
is.
Oh, that's good. I tell you, I was so amazed at the Think Smart factory because Colin he was just transforming fluently between English and Japanese. It's just amazing when people can do these things, right? So that's great.
Yeah.
So guys, what do you have in plan for us today?
So today our plan is to, tell you how the digital printing technology is improving and then how the finishing technology is affected by that. We are always, trying to make the system automated and then trying to move to the smart factory concept. And recently, I started to travel to Europe and the US, and then hearing the customer, they always says, the quality for the digital printing is improving dramatically. So they used to, use offset for quality work, and then maybe the short run or lower quality for digital. But they say, depending on efficiency or quantity, they use digital or offset in the same level. So that's actually amazing for me. So based on that story, and today we're gonna do the presentation. Starting off with maybe a brief PowerPoint, and then because it is live, so we want to show you how the machine is running on live. So myself is a PowerPoint guy, and then Brian.
He's the technical
Brian
guy.
is the Brian will be showing and then demonstrating on the machine.
Fantastic. Before I will let you demonstrate, I can tell you that talking about customers, as you know, we did a film for your German colleagues in Saxo Print just a few weeks ago, and it is totally aligned with what you're saying about the quality job and automation level. And the film from Saxo Print we will actually release today, so people that are
Yeah.
interested in seeing how Horizon is integrating robots into making it almost entirely lights out production of your BQ480 and your HT1000V trimmer thing. I mean, it's just fantastic to see, and I'm sure that a lot of people will really get excited to see how printing companies are using your technology in real life, right? So, but let's dig into it. So, can you share your screen, or will Bryan handle that from your side?
Yep. So I will share my screen from here.
It should
Just one
pop
moment.
up here in a second.
Yep. And
here we go. So I will put that screen up with you and in a little thumbnail, and then basically I will just sit tight and listen to you. So I hopefully have some qualified questions afterwards. Okay.
yep.
So take it away, Taketsugu-san.
Yep. So let me start. So can you see my screen in front of you?
We see your screen, yes.
So the theme of our live presentation today is a print transformation. How evolving digital print technology is changing commercial print. So as I mentioned earlier, digital technology is pretty much higher level right now. So how that is affecting to the printing industry, including finishing business. So let me start my presentation. So this is actually printing method selection in the past. So as you can see in the digital section, it's a lower level, quantity low and quality lower. And an offset was taking quality higher and quantity higher. So in case all the quality required job, client A has the 10,000 job, and client B has a 2,000 job, and client C has a 200 jobs. But because all quality requires, so customer have to put onto the offset printing. So for the 10,000 job, it's a good number of run lengths, so customer is happy, it's profitable. And client B job is a 2,000 job, so it's okay, but if there is the efficient way, they want to print on a digital instead of offset. And client C is 200. It's actually pretty low quantity, but it still requires for the high quality and necessary to print on the offset press. So profitability is pretty much low. So this is kind of offset printing production. And there are many touch points and many processes involved. So benefit is high production and speed and quality requires. But drawback is high initial costs like overhead and labors. And also many processes that could cause mistake as well. So it want to be avoided. But as I said, digital print technology is rapidly, going higher and higher. So nowadays, we can do the change. So as I mentioned, it's the same job and same client job and quantity, and all quality requires. So client A, still 10,000 is happy, but client B, it can be printed on digital or offset, depending on availability or efficiency. So customer can choose either offset or digital. And client C, only 200 jobs. So customer wanted to print in a digital to be more profitable, but in the past, because of the quality, they can't do it. But now, it's possible to print on a digital. So customer can be profitable. So this says, depending on the quantity, it is able to divert offset or digital. And customer can choose efficient solution depending on the quantity and quality requirements. So today, on the live demonstration, we are going to focus on die cutting process. So just to give you an idea, in the past, for the die cutting process, there are many processes involved to do die cutting. It needs to be print, and need to be transported, and then cut and separate and stack, and then have to count and inspect and packaging. So it was suitable for long-run jobs or many applications. But for the short run, it was not really efficient. But now, those all processes are combined together, integrated together, so it can be few touch points and then able to run short runs and high mix jobs. So it was quite efficient way of running this system. So coming up next, we want to, live on a demonstration. Today, we are going to demonstrate our die cutting system together with the Konica Minolta press. So please pay attention to live demonstration. Okay. So I will be going back to the Bryan's location to be a cameraman. So just a moment.
All right, so thank you.
Good to see you, Bryan. Yeah, you're there.
Taketsugu-san.
You're there. No
Okay.
worries. Just want to say that you are on, so you know.
All right, so Take explained the how digital processes have changed. Digital printing, the technology has advanced. So I'm going to explain one of our solutions that that take advantages of this digital technology. So there you go. Taketsugu-san is joining us as the cameraman. So as Taketsugu-san said, we have our rotary die cutting system, the RD4055DM, in line with digital press, Konica Minolta Akira C14000, I believe. And it's hooked up in line with our rotary die cutting system, the RD4055DM. And it utilizes this thin sheet metal that has a die cut onto it. And there's two rotating magnetic cylinders that we use to cut the sheet that goes through it. So we can go ahead and start the system. And as I mentioned before, it's all in line, so I'm going to switch the camera real quick. So there we go. Our operator, Fujimoto-san, just pressed the button, and we already have sheets being printed. So the benefits of working with finishing devices in line is that you can have everything automated. You can go from printing all the way to finished applications in one pass. So here we go. We have the sheets already being printed, and they're coming out to our universal buffering module, the SBM100. So you can have some problems with inline solutions in the way that if one device stops the upstream device or the downstream device, then the other side will have to stop as well. But with this buffering module, we're able to get a stack of up to 50 millimeters buffered within this device. So even if one device stops, the upstream device or downstream device stops, the other device is still able to continue running while the operator is working to take care of the problem. As you can see, we have a nice buffering. We already have a nice file buffering in here of sheets. So another one that you can get in with the inline solutions is you have a really nice digital press, and it prints out at a really high speed, but the finishing device can't keep up with it. So you might need you would normally need two offline devices to keep up with this pace. But with this buffering module, we're able to keep the printer running at full speed, and it'll just keep feeding sheets into the finishing device. So you don't have to worry about slowing down the printer to keep up with our rotary die cutter. So as you can see, we have paper is paper, and sometimes we have something jam up in there. But as you can see, we have a buffering, nice buffer, so that the digital press is still able to keep on printing. So now I want to explain a little bit more about the what our RD uses, some of our rotary die cutting system is capable of. So it uses these thin sheet metals, and as I mentioned before, two magnetic cylinders that are rotating, and the sheets that pass through are processed at a very high rate. As you can see, we have sheets coming through right now, and they're getting processed really fast. With our rotating, with our die cutter, you're able to die cut, kiss cut, perforate, and do high impact creasing, as well as cut pretty much any shape imaginable. Today we're creating business cards, but pretty much any shape that you can make a die of, you can do. And after the sheets are die cut, they come through our separator, so they're automatically separated and stacked. So we have this preset amount of cards that we want to be stacked, and after it reaches the amounts of stacked cards, then it'll release it to the delivery section. So these are some of the cards that we're doing. So by going from printing to finishing, we're able to reduce the touch points, amount of people that would normally be required to finish a sort of die cutting job like this. Looks like we finished the printing job, so we're starting more paper. But you can go all the way from blank sheets to a finished product in one pass, which shows the high automation of this inline solution. And you can even go inline. We have as you can see right there, we have an extension to this solution, which is a robotic hand that takes these finished business cards and will take each stack one by one and then pass them to a banding machine so that it's ready to be packaged. So normally you would have the cards like this. And then you would just band it like this. So this is the finished product, and if you have a robotic hand at the end, then you wouldn't even need to do the process that I just did right now. So you can go all the way to a banded business cards. So here's some more cards coming out, and we even have barcodes printed on these so that you can make use, if you have a workflow that you're packaging and you're scanning finished products, then you can scan it and it's ready to go. So here's an example of some of our right after the business cards are cut, they pass through our separator, and the waste paper that we don't use to trim in edges and bleeds in the gutters come out and are fed down into our waste transfer bin for recycling. So this is our rotary die cutting system. As I mentioned today, we're business cards, but with all the possibilities that you can do with dies, you can do greeting cards with creasing and rounded edges. You can even do embossing. You can kind of, I'm not sure if you can see this. Horizontal cutting, which is stickers. You can even do some light packaging for various candy or chocolates. So there's quite a lot of wide selection of applications that are possible with this one system. And with our stacking system, you don't have to just use it with the business cards, but it can be used with any other sorts of greeting cards, or if it's hot here in Japan, so you can make these fans. So this is just one of the solutions that we have for sheet processing. But with this sort of solution, you're able to, normally, the traditional conventional die cutting would take lots of people, lots of different processes. You'd have printing, you'd be transporting the sheets from the printer to the die cutter, or the cutting machine, the guillotine cutter. You'd have someone working on that, and then after the cards are cut, they're sorted and separated and then counted, and then taken next to the packaging. So you'd have lots of different people for each process, but with this we're able to do everything in one pass, which shows what you can do with digital printing technology.
I must say Bryan.
Also behind me.
I'm sorry.
So this is just one of our solutions, but behind us we have another inline solution. I believe it's with a Ricoh press and our smart slitter. We don't have it today, but with our universal buffering module, it's not just with Konikawa Minolta. We've also done Ricoh, Canon presses as well. So there's quite a wide range of digital presses that can be connected inline with our finishing solutions. And not just, let me come over to Taketsugu-san. So it's not just the sheet processing that we can do, but we're in our showroom right now, and we have a wide range of different solutions for example, like continuous digital web to book production, as well as other sorts of foldings sections we have. We have offset finishing devices as well. So there's quite a lot of things that you can do with Horizon solutions. So instead of showing you all of these devices, Morten, do you have the video that we wanted to show?
Yeah, I will definitely.
The universal finishing.
I will click that right now.
Here, we'll walk.
Wow, that was amazing, right? Can you hear me, Brian? And Taketsugu
Yes,
san
I
you
can
can
hear you.
Okay, I will just bring. So here we are. Thank you for a fantastic demo. I mean, guys, I can't help think about every time I see something from Horizon. It seems that you get one step further about the smart factory, not just as a concept, because I can see, Taki, that some of the things we saw in Kyoto before the COVID is now actual products, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
What was it?
So we've been working for the smart factory like maybe since 2019, and then trying to collaborate with many vendors to have the more integration.
Is it in your opinion? And maybe it sounds like a provocation. It's not meant to, but I'm just asking you anyway. I think that Horizon is really pushing the limits for what is normal for binding, right? Because you really automate with the ICE, you do it on the workflow with the robots integration, you do it on the physical lifting. When you do things, the dream of having lights out production, is that getting closer and closer?
Yeah, and I think it's maybe a few years later, maybe we want to achieve, all the lights shut down, and then just the printing press print, and then the AGV or robotic arm, moves around, and then they finish everything with no human intervention. That's our dream, and we want to make it happen.
And in your opinion, is that because I mean Japanese and Japan and Japanese people have always been very innovative, and when you go to Electric City in Tokyo, you see things that you don't see anywhere else, right? I was just thinking, is the technology and the development you do, is it driven by market? Are you also trying to drive the market?
Yeah, we want to try to drive the market. Fortunately, we are in a good position as a finishing manufacturer because, all the technology is coming from printing press, right? But the printing press, they are competing each other. So sometimes it's difficult to communicate, but we are the finishing manufacturer, and then we can collaborate with everybody. And then we are hoping we can initiate or we can drive everybody into smart factory direction, and then we want to put that effort. So Think Smart Factory event is one example, and then every year doing a Horizon Smart Factory and such. And next IGAS as well, we're going to collaborate with the 12 market leading vendors and have the integration and also the workflows and then so on. So it will be an interesting event.
And just for the European audience as well, I just want to say that next week we have the finishing first event in Quickborn in Germany, which is also both with Horizon, of course, but also some of your partners. You actually mentioned something I like a lot, and that is where the binding equipment is not only binding the paper, but it's also binding the vendors together, right? Because you cannot have a printing machine without the binding equipment. And since there are so many vendors on both the printing side and on the binding side, it is important that you can interconnect with each other. Also, since even though you're competitors at the same time, right?
True. Yeah.
Is that sometimes difficult? I mean, I think that binding. I mean, of course, you have a close relationship with many of the other OEMs already, but is it sometimes do you wish sometimes? Oh, I wish we could do it our own way.
We wish we could do everything, but we have limited resources and then time, so we want to collaborate together with them. In this industry, we want to dominate the market, but the competitor is also important because without a competitor, we cannot grow. So we do compete each other, but we collaborate each other. So I think that's the important things.
And that is why, I mean, for example, you talk about the IGAS, and for those who don't know what IGAS is, that is like the number one trade show in Japan taking place from the 23rd of November to the 28th of November, right? And it's I think it's a big show. It's more typically like 100,000 people coming there, 60 to 100,000 people, right?
Yeah, in the past, it was treated like a more like an international show,
Okay.
and then we could have maybe 100,000, 200,000 people. But the recent years, it's shrinked a little bit, so maybe 50,000.
Okay, but still a big show,
maybe
right?
50,000 to 100,000. Yeah.
And basically, when you go to a trade show like this, as you say, you have actually before the COVID there was, and also just after the first year, you did this Think Smart Factory concept, where you invite partners to show the AGVs, to show how robots can work, to see how print and finishing works together. But at the ICA show, you actually do a kind of a smaller. You gather a lot of your colleagues to basically have a smart factory event on the show floor, right?
Yes. So it's IGAS is actually almost like a smart factory event. In our booth, we have a printing press, and then the third-party devices, we do integrate each other and showing the solutions instead of showing just our solution. We show a total solution from start to finish. And then actually, interesting thing though, we're going to connect the booth with the printing press manufacturer, and an AGV will be moving across the aisle to transport the printing material to our finishing devices.
Of course, there's no need for having a guy doing that, right? Taki, I can't help think about, because one of the things that is a very visual result of the commitment from Horizon is that you are standing in your demo center and you have so much equipment there, and you can show so many end-to-end solutions. I think also that you have been extremely good at doing virtual events and video conferences, both for me but also for customers and like that. Is that part of the new reality, that we have to see demos of equipment like this?
Yeah, I think it's I think the hybrid way is important. Of course, customer want to see the machine in front of them, but there are many processes for purchasing, right? At the initial point, this kind of virtual, that's actually more efficient. Instead of traveling 1,000 miles from their location and just to see, to determine. But in an initial process, they can see virtually, and we can show detail. And if they like it, they can come in over and see and touch the machine. That's, I think, it's a new way and an efficient way.
But you are so good at it, so you may have a lot of people coming in to see your real world products, right?
Yeah.
That's great. When we talk about, for example, the ICE and the workflow automation and all these things, that also the IoT thing that is part of the ICE, when I asked before whether it is market demanded or you drive the market, do customers understand the potential of what you're offering? I mean, when you see a robot arm taking off, I mean, this is something that can, of course, either support or eliminate workforce, but it can also be something where you can, the health issues of heavy lifting, and do the customers see the potentials in all the things you're doing?
Yeah, customers see the potential of all doing it, because after the pandemic or during the pandemic, it's becoming more and more difficult to hiring higher skilled operator, and then the labor costs are getting higher and higher. So some customers are realizing now, I think it's the investing machine probably more efficient than keeping a traditional way and then they keep hiring people. So I think it's in a workflow, robotic arm, AGV, automation, those type of thing is a future direction. And then because of the supply chain issue, right before they are rely on lower or cheaper labor countries, but they are not able to get the products out from their country because of the supply chain issue. So they are bringing the job back to their own country to produce again. But because developed country, higher higher labor cost. So they have to automate and then invest for the machine to maintain the product more competitive price.
And that takes me a little bit back to the demo that Bryan did, because basically you see a printing machine, and then you have a line of modules that do different jobs, from the gathering station to the rotary cutter to everything basically. Is this? Are these technologies used today, or is it so new that it's still just on the beginning?
It's actually, we started this project 2 years ago, and then some of the customer actually using it. It's domestically in Japan, and that customer is focusing on business cards. But due to the pandemic, business card itself is becoming shorter run, right?
Yeah, you just need one, right?
Business card, yeah, and business card format is the same mostly.
Yeah.
So running rotary die cutting integrated with the printing press, that's more efficient than having the offline process, and then people are cutting by themselves and then packaging by themselves and so on. So,
Bryan, maybe you can add to this, because if you look at the machine and look how it seems to be to operate it, it seems pretty easy.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the specialties of our products, where they're trying to design to be really easy to use, so that you can have a new employee, someone who's not as skilled, because skilled workers are getting harder and harder to find these days, skilled operators. So our designers and us ourselves, we're trying to create machines that can essentially be used by anyone within a day or a couple hours of training.
Super great. So that basically means that the smart factory is not just about lights out production, but also to help PSPs when they can't employ the right people. So it's a mix of a lot of different things going on in the same place. When you, you showed some of the products that you're doing on the line that you're just doing there. It also looked like that you have like some kind of packaging products. Is this like also Horizon's ability to offer, let's say, new types of applications to your customers?
Yes, true. We want to offer end-to-end solution. So we collaborate with the third-party manufacturer, but we're going to integrate it, and then they want to offer packaging equipment as well. Maybe want to connect with the sorting equipment, or maybe in the future, connect to the the delivery system. So maybe starting print, and then maybe finishing and packaging, and then delivery, all integrated. That is, I think, it's a right way to go, we think.
And Take, one thing is that when you and people from manufacturers say, maybe I love it, because that is the way we're going, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not a maybe, it will be there sooner or later. Fantastic. Guys, anything you want to add to this learning experience? I think it's been wonderful, and we're a little bit ahead of time, but that doesn't matter. I know it's, as you said, it's a holiday. You need to get home to your families, and we will see each other soon. Both at Printing United maybe, and also at IGAS, right? There will be a lot of opportunities. Yes. Yeah. So
both Bryan and myself will be the Printing United. So we will see you next month.
Fantastic. I look forward to that. Guys, thank you very much for your time and your always support of what we do. And when we finish with the webinar today, we will cut it into more digestible sizes, and then we publish them on Enki, so we can have more people viewing it, of course, right? So thank you very much, and have a wonderful
Thank you very much.
Evening, right? It's soon evening there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.